Today is November 8, 2010. We have a quorum. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 25th, 2010?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Items for consideration. Move to approve payroll through October 24th, 2010 for $2,261,674.63. Can we get a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, for the bills list through November 9th, 2010 for $2,945,173.32. Let's get a motion to approve, and then we'll have some discussion.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. I didn't see any. There was responses. Yes, I see. We have some responses, so we'll take a few minutes to review the responses that we received to the inquiries. You got yours?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A little more time. We need a little more time? Okay, Alderman Rainey.
I asked a question about what's the name of the company? Landscape Concepts Management, watering annuals.
Yes.
I mean, look at those prices. I asked where they were doing this extra watering, because I did a walk with Paul DiAgostino along Howard Street. I believe it was in September. And the reason I did that is because, number one, I wanted to see the contract, which was shared with me, which does, in fact, require 15 waterings. One of the reasons we did the walk is because it was my observation that watering, if ever, had been done by this company maybe on 2 or 3 occasions at most during the summer, spring, summer time of the contract. I was told that the person who was in charge of working that district, the Howard Street, was fired. And now we're being charged because they're saying there was extra watering on 9, 8, 11, 13, and 29 of this year on Howard Street. Well, if they did water then they were simply catching up with what they hadn't done. I think this company is ripping us off. I hope they don't sue me for saying that, because I'll be prepared to testify with pictures, et cetera, of the lousy job they've done, and I hope we don't use them again. We probably have no choice but to pay them, but I am telling you, I don't know about Main Street, and Callan hasn't looked so hot either, but you know what Callan is. I think that, are they talking about the embankment? They can't possibly. Huh? The Four Corners? Well, those Four Corners are at Custer, so they're not at Callan. They're at Custer. I thought maybe they were trying to tell us they watered the embankment, which, of course, we know they didn't. So the Four Corners at Custer, I will personally lug buckets and water the Four Corners at Custer 1, 2, 3, 4 times for this kind of money. I mean, this is nuts. We just have to start being more on top of this. I'm not going to stop this payment, but I am telling the taxpayers in this town that we are being ripped off. I don't know about Main Street. I'm sure they did a wonderful job on Main Street, but in the areas that I'm patrolling, they're not.
So, Mr. D'Agostino, could you brief the rest of us as to what the problem is?
And also, Paul, can you tell us, is one of these dates the dates we met? They promised to send out the water truck that day. You could not even stuff a pencil into the dirt the day we were out, and I'll bet it was one of these days.
I do not know if one of these watering dates is the date we met, but I know they are charging us after the first 15 waterings at $85 an hour for these extra waterings.
I see.
Part of the base contract includes 15 waterings per season, which is roughly once per week during the growing season. If it gets dry during any spell, they water more than that, but once they get to the 15, they have to charge us extra. And that's what these charges are about.
Paul, I think if you listen to my comments, I understand what the contract says versus what I believe happened and what we are now being charged for. So,
I didn't hear, did you say $85 an hour?
That's correct, yes.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
that in no way correlates to our water prices.
All right. So, Paul, I mean, what's the problem and how we going to correct? I mean, we've heard what the problem is, but what's the correction?
We're attempting to stay on top of the contractor a lot more than we had been in the past.
Okay. So, is this contractor, as Alderman Rainey said, taking advantage of us, or?
I think they may have been earlier this year, but I don't believe they are at this point in time.
Okay. So we're on top of it at this
Yes, we are.
All right. And we're not doing any watering right now?
Not right now, no.
All right. And is this a contract that goes beyond, let me see. Yeah, I don't have a copy or any reference to the contract. Is the contract over at the end of this fiscal year?
At the end of this calendar year, it's over.
Okay. So when they bid for the contract again, could you please make a note in the their bid that these issues had come up?
I absolutely
So we
will,
could
yes.
remember that. Okay.
I have a question about it.
Yes, Alderman Barris, go ahead.
Felt like it's hard.
That's good.
Where are they filling up their water tank, their truck? I mean, is it our water they're using, or are they using?
No,
fire
they-
hydrant.
I don't believe they use the city's water, no. I think they fill it up, at their yard and bring it here. But I can find out for sure. I'm not positive on that.
All right.
Get some summer jobs going, right? Some young entrepreneurs could probably get that done. Okay, well, we'll make sure that this information is noted the next time they bid, and we'll take that into consideration. Any other questions? Yes, Alderman Rainey.
The annuals were all dead in September because that's when we were down there. What they did was they planted some chrysanthemums like the day after I held up the last bill. And so I think those are the annuals they're talking about because by then the petunias were dead. They were dead. Or dying, or on their way out.
Okay.
From lack of water. I just hate giving them this money.
Okay, any other questions regarding the bills list? All right. Hearing no questions, then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is A3.1, which is a request from the Staff and Transportation and Parking Committee requesting that we approve the sole source purchase of data park systems upgrades through RevCon Technology Group from Addison, Illinois, in the amount of $47,360 and $2,000 for closed-circuit television. This purchase is necessary to provide a separate upper deck parking area for the garage at 1800 Maple Avenue to provide reduced parking costs to downtown employees. Funding is being provided by the parking fund. Can we have a motion?
Second.
Can we get an explanation, Rick, because some of us had the advantage of being at the committee meeting when this matter was explained, and after some discussion, we all understood the reason why we were making that investment and the possibility of recouping that investment. Can you explain the purpose again?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Ricky Voss, parking manager. What it is that we did a pilot program at the Sherman Plaza, which became extremely successful in segregating parking or separating parking for reduced rates for employees of downtown Evanston. The purpose of this particular one is that Maple Avenue, we would like to accomplish the same scenario. However, the one area that is not separated or nested is the upper roof or the upper deck of a Maple garage. So with the success of the program, what we were looking to do is expanding the program for workers in Evanston that are employed by downtown merchants and give them this discounted rate, which currently we had standing at $50 a month, and expand that onto the rooftop. In order to do that, we have to make this investment so we can separate it, get the transponders out, and then at the same time install closed circuit television to ensure that we have the proper security measures.
Okay. And so the segregation is to ensure that those who qualify to access that space are the ones who are accessing it, right?
Correct. The transponder is set for that particular area. If they don't get up to the rooftop and they try to come back out then, and they park someplace else in the deck, then they violate it and they pay the full freight for that particular day, which is $13. So they have to go buy that to get back out.
There was a question raised at the committee level as to whether or not we expect to recoup that $47,000 investment. Can you explain?
Based on, and Mr. Lyons, the assistant city manager, and I went over these numbers along with Ms. Earl. And what we're looking at is we're looking at to recoup that expense probably in 1+ years. Because what will happen is we have a total anticipated revenue of $156,000, and we have to figure what old revenue is, or take a guess at how many people are going to come up from the lower, take advantage of they're now paying $85, take advantage. So based on that, we're anticipating a net annual new revenue of $43,800, which will allow us a payback in about a year and a half, plus, about a year and a quarter.
Okay. Any questions? Yes, Alderman Rainey.
Ricky, can you explain, as you did to us the other night, about the fact that not just anybody can get these spaces, that there are qualifications to get them?
The program is designed for, we'd like to target certain people within, and those are basically the people that work downtown. The premise of it was to get advertising out to the employee that works in the, in the stores and stuff that currently right now feed the meters, bounce back and forth. So we made an application, and the application basically confirms that the person is employed by an Evanston business. It is signed off by the owner of the business. The application then is attached to the transponder, and that is the only person that can receive that privilege to park on the deck.
I think that's a really good part of the program.
Yep. Excellent. Okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Ray. Okay, item 3.2. It's a request from staff that we award contracts for the snow towing services to various companies in an amount not to exceed $75,000. Funding for snow towing contractors is provided by the Snow and Ice Control General Fund. The estimated total for the 2010-11 snow season is in an amount not to exceed $75,000. This particular, first of all, let's get a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
And can you, Ms. Robinson, can you further explain that? Because it's not just one contractor, it's multiple contractors, or, Ms. Earl?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. The way that the bid works is that we advertise for equipment for the snow season, and first come, first served submits bids by the deadline, and we cut off at 25. And then the people that are beyond the 25 can still be used, but they're not put on retainer for the snow season.
Any questions or clarifications? One of the issues we had talked about that I spoke to Ms. Earl about is the participation of Evanston-based companies. And because they had set it up on a first-come, first-served basis, there are some Evanston companies involved, but not as many as we'd like to see. So we'll continue to be aggressive and try to market it so that Evanston-based companies can take advantage of this a little more aggressively. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Did you have a comment, Alderman Rain?
I mean, I'm trying to restrain myself, but we've been doing this for how many hundreds of years? We contract out with tow companies. Everybody in Evanston who owns a tow truck, which, I don't know how many there are, 10 maybe, surely by now they know about it. I just don't, it just seems like we're always talking about our contractors are missing the boat. And I think we ought to send out an alert to our contractors to start watching certain publications, something, so that they don't always miss the boat. Did we get any Evanston contractors? And if so, can you tell us who?
Yes, we did. There's 3 listed. I don't know them off the top of my head. What happened is we sent out the bid request to a variety of companies, all of the Evanston companies. As I said, they submit on first-come, first-served basis, and they just didn't get their bids in time.
Did they get them in late? Or did they
They
not
made
get
the
them
deadline, but they didn't make the cutoff of 25 to put them on retainer. So what we thought we could do next year, because we need to be fair this year, we think they just didn't get them in on time. Next year, what we'll do is, as long as they get it in by the deadline, we'll give them preference. But because the bid wasn't advertised that way this year, we think it's better to wait until next year to do that.
But it wasn't advertised because they got first crack at knowing about it and then didn't get their stuff in, right?
Well, all of the.
Everybody got a letter.
No, they all got it in on time, and all of the companies on the list got the same mailing. It's just that some other companies that are
Got
not
there
Evanston-based got them here
Got there
first, correct.
Tell me, is 555 Howard on here? I didn't see, no. Because they have a tow truck parked at a fire hydrant 24 hours a day. That truck needs to move.
We've got 1033 Dodge
Yeah.
and 2527 Oakton, and then on Dobson, I can't remember that one. I see it now.
So any tow truck companies listening out there? Any tow truck companies listening, get your bids in very early next year, especially Evanston-based companies. Did Smithies get?
Look,
Smith's is not on.
All right.
Alderman, it could be that they know their capabilities in the winter and probably do tons of insurance work, starting cars and things, so could be that.
All right, then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item A4 is a request that we adopt Resolution 55-R-10, authorizing the city manager to sign an extension to the city's electricity supply agreement with Mid-American Energy Company. Due to the volatile pricing of electricity, suppliers won't hold purchase prices for more than 24 hours without a considerable risk factor markup. So the city then is moving forward to try to make this purchase. Can we get a motion?
Second.
Any questions? Yes. You have a question, Alderman Holmes?
Additional information.
Are we going to get a report from our staff on this, on
Yeah,
the
I
pricing
think
and things?
at the city council level, why
Well, I
don't we
would
get?
like to know it now.
You want to know it right
Yeah.
now? Okay, let's get a
This
brief
is-
report then.
This is where we get into these kinds of issues.
That's fine.
Good evening. My name's Dave Stomack. I'm the Director of Utilities. As Alderman Jean-Baptiste indicated, electricity is a volatile price, so we received pricing just this morning from Mid-America. That price came in at, I don't really know, 5.5 cents approximately, which was in the range that we anticipated when we had received the indicative pricing back on October 29th. The price that we received today is higher than the indicative pricing, but is in line with the market value that has gone up since that time as well. That's indicated in the attachment. I placed a memo at your chair today, and as you can see in Table 1, the pricing for the market prices went up, and then compared it to the pricing of how much it went up for our actual price from the indicative price. So it looks appropriate. It's within the range that we anticipated, and therefore we would recommend that you adopt the resolution authorizing the city manager to sign the contract tomorrow, and we return to Mid-America. The current price that we're paying is 6 cents, 6.86 cents per kilowatt hour. The new price is 5.5 cents. Based on our average monthly kilowatt usage, we look to save approximately $21,500 a month, or $129,000 over a 6-month extension term.
Any further questions? Alderman Rain.
Dave, if we had gone to another energy supplier, and I admit my ignorance on this, would we have been able to bargain a different, and I don't mean a better price, but as of today, were we to have had 3 suppliers lined up, would they have all quoted the same exact price?
I don't believe so, no. There is a administrative markup in the supply item portion component of that every supplier would fudge to try to win the bid. Again, I can only state that I feel that this is a fair price.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure it
Mid-American
is.
has provided a lot of information, brought me up to speed on a lot of things I didn't really understand initially. And we've been very satisfied with their billing, their invoicing. It's clear, it's comprehensive. So, and I'm just looking, again, for some time so I can go out and do an RFQ followed by an RFP to get us in a long-term contract.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item A5, staff recommends adoption of Resolution 58R-10, which authorizes the city manager to sign the resolution of authorization for the Illinois Park and Recreational Facility Construction Grant application through the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. The Evanston Ecology Center contains an existing greenhouse structure, which is in a severely dilapidated condition and is in danger of permanent closure due to structural concerns. Funding of $125,000 will be provided by the fiscal year 2011 Capital Improvement Program. The grant application is due November 29, 2010. Can we get a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Discussion? All those in
Do
favor?
we know how old this is? I don't remember reading how old.
How old, what?
The greenhouse.
The structure itself?
Yeah.
I
The
don't know.
greenhouse part.
Do you know, Paul, Doug?
We believe it's 1978.
Okay.
Was it original, when the whole place was built, or what? Or was it, how did that work?
This part of the building was original, and as you know, it was built in 2 phases, and this was the first phase back, we believe, in about 1978.
Okay. And by the way, Doug, could you, for the listening audience, we getting reimbursed for a percentage of this investment, right?
Yes, it's a new grant program that was rolled out by Governor Quinn about 2 months ago, and we're trying to take advantage of this for this
Okay.
project.
And what's the percentage of reimbursement?
75%, I believe.
Okay, excellent. Okay,
Good
Good.
deal. If we can get it.
all right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
For A6, A6 and A7, we have somebody who wanted to make public comments, and that is Rosemary O'Neill. Ms. O'Neill, you want to come? By the way, these items are both for introduction. They should be both for introduction. One is marked for action, the other one is marked for introduction. They should be both for introduction. Okay.
Rosemary O'Neill. I live at 2044 Sheridan Road. Can you hear me now? Thank you, Madam Rainey. I'm Rosemary O'Neill. I live at 2044 Sheridan Road. You all know why I'm here again. My neighbors, last Thursday, the 4th, at my request, my neighbors, Teresa Corcoran, the business manager for 20 years of Shield, and Jean Lindwall, an urban planner who's my neighbor around the corner, and my attorney, Mark Chester, we met with Mr. Snyder and the city staff and the mayor generously and graciously gave an hour of her time to come to the meeting. Mrs. Corcoran has a business meeting at Shield tonight, and alas, Jean Lindwall, who knows about urban planning, is in California, but they support my position. Over the past 2 years, ever since it started in November of 2008, the neighbors have presented other options to the light, which was only warranted, according to some of the reports, at peak times. By a fluke of fate, I was going north on Waukegan Road recently at 5:15 and past the College of American Pathologists, and they had 2 policemen out there in this portable flashing light. So I called the facilities manager the next day and talked to him, and he told me they are poem lights, as in poetry. And he gave me the name of the manufacturer, who is located in Antioch, and I talked to the man, and he said, they're more or less around $1,000, and he told me people who had them. Interestingly enough, the athletic director at Northwestern bought 6 of them. So maybe we could, have a trial run, try it for a month or 2, and bring it over and see if it works. Northwestern has the police, and I even offered the mayor, I said, I'll buy one for you if we can try it. And then the other thing that we thought was, there is a safety report that you may or may not be aware of. You have received so much paper. There was a report that was done for the city and a survey that went over a 3-year period of accidents or incidents between Garrett Place and Library Place. There were a total of 22 in 3 years. No fatalities. 14 were at the corner of Garrett and Sheridan Road. 4 of them were at Library Place, or 6 of them were at Library Place, and 2 of them were at Parking Lot D. So, that sort of removes the risk there. Since November of '08 and when you had the other meeting in February of '09, there seems to be a rigidity in the city position on this matter, and we really, I know it's kind of late now, but we've never gotten any really spirit of compromise or experimentation on it, and if it isn't too late, I think it'd be marvelous to get one of those poem lights out there and see how it works, because according to what I've been told by urban planners, the peak hours are in the afternoon. And so thank you very much for your time and for listening, and hopefully I won't have to come again.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ms. O'Neill. This matter will be back up on the agenda 2 weeks from today, so you will have an opportunity to once again address this, and it is probably at that time that we'll be involved in more deliberation within the council. Alderman Fisk and then Alderman Rain.
Thank you. Does the city own one of these PO lights, or is it just Northwestern that owns them? Okay.
What was the answer?
Okay. I would certainly like to reach out to the university and ask their cooperation that we could try these in front of Ms. O'Neill's house. For those of you who don't know, this traffic signal would basically be in her front yard and would obviously have a deleterious effect on her enjoyment of her property, if not her property values directly. So if I could ask the city manager, are you here? There you are. If we could ask the cooperation of Northwestern and do a little 2-day study midweek, hopefully, when the students are actually going to classes, and see how this actually works for Ms. O'Neill.
Mr. Chair, Alderman Fisk, we can certainly talk with Northwestern. I don't know that this solves the larger problem that the council has been discussing over the last year or so. I'm not sure what information we would get other than we would put a light up and people would stop and people would cross. I think that the issue was a larger issue over an extended period of time. As Ms. O'Neill indicated, this is often used at very specific periods of time where there are staff to put the light out and take the light back in. I don't know that that's the circumstance here.
Well, I think the point that Ms. O'Neill was making, which seems to be supported by the data, is that the signal is really warranted at peak hours of the day, in morning and the afternoon. And I think there was also a question about when that particular study was done. It seems, and I don't know this for absolute fact, but apparently a study was done on commencement Saturday. And if that's the basis for some of these figures, I'd like to know that.
And Mr. Chair, I guess the question before you is the agreement with Northwestern University. The next item is the ordinance itself. We'd be happy to once again go through the information we've shared on several occasions with the council, if that's appropriate at this time. Otherwise, if you'd like to wait for the next item, but we'll be happy to walk through the information once again. Mr. Schneider?
Yeah, what's,
If that's the will of the
well,
committee.
let me ask, because Alderman Rainey had her hand.
Alderman John Baptiste, this item before us right now is for action tonight. However, I think we should hold it because it doesn't make sense to pass this before we take action on the ordinance. So we should hold this in committee. Because
Yeah, that's why I was saying that we should consider the two items as being for introduction.
But you
Just
don't
don't
introduce a motion like this. You just bring it up and deal with it like a resolution on the same night. So we should really hold it.
The agreement, yep, okay.
Not an
I mean, how
ordinance.
it's framed,
Well, it
you know,
makes a
you're right that
difference.
they should advance together.
They
I
should.
think that's the.
So we should hold this until a decision is made, the night we make the decision on the light,
On the ordinance.
on the light ordinance, right?
All right. Okay. City attorney thing, that's appropriate. So why don't we, so that was a motion to
I'll
hold.
move to hold it in
To
committee.
hold both items, really.
No, the other
Just-
one is just for introduction.
Reduction, okay,
So-
fine. All right. Okay, that's fine. We didn't really move it, so why don't we move it and then hold it, okay? All right, so this is a recommendation to the city council to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Northwestern University for the design, construction, and funding of the proposed Sheridan Road traffic signal at the Northwestern University entrance south of Garrett Place. All costs associated with the design and construction of the proposed traffic signal will be reimbursed by Northwestern University. Can I have a motion?
Move approval, or move introduction.
No, that's approval. That item is for action. So go ahead and
Mr. Chair.
move approval as,
I think you had said it correctly
I
the
wasn't
first
sure which
time.
one you were reading.
Yeah, the item
I'm
regarding.
reading
the-
A6.
You're reading A6.
I read A6.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I had already moved on
Do you
to
move that
A7.
approval? Can we get a second? Okay, all right, then we'll hold it as.
In committee.
Can we get a
Yeah.
second to hold it?
Second.
Okay, it's held in committee.
I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Okay, fine. Then let's just introduce the next item, okay? And then.
Oh,
I beg your pardon?
a voice vote.
Oh, okay. All those in favor of holding this item A6, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. A7 is a recommendation that we adopt proposed ordinance 36-0-10, by which the city council would amend section 10-11-5, Schedule V, G of the city code to establish a traffic signal at Sheridan Road and the Northwestern University entrance south of Garrett Place. Again, funding is the same way. You move, okay, can we get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. So, city manager, then we'll come back, but what's before us is
full
these
package at
two
this point,
items.
Exactly.
So, in between whatever the alderman for the first ward, if she's garnered any information and comes before us with that, then that'll be considered in the context of this debate.
Certainly.
Okay? So you've asked, yeah, Alderman Fisk?
But, City Manager, you will reach out to the university and ask them if they would cooperate in at
Certainly.
least a trial.
Mr.
I-
Naylor is here, and I think has heard the discussion, and we'll follow Mr. Naylor.
Okay, I think that would be very helpful.
And let me understand what we're trying to do. We'll
Well,
get this.
The request, I believe, of Alderman Fisk is to reach out to Northwestern. They apparently own the type of signal that Ms. O'Neill has described. I think the question for Northwestern is if they would be agreeable to do this. I think from a staff perspective, it would be interesting to see it in operation. I don't know that it's necessarily germane to the traffic issues at the location. So we will ask Northwestern if they would wish to pursue this. If they do, we'll monitor, take some photographs, be able to share with the committee. If they're not amenable, we'll report that back as well on the 22nd.
Yes, Alderman Fisk. Yeah, I'll look over there. Go ahead, Finish?
Okay. I'd also like to get some feedback from students, just general students, not an organized group. So if we know when those dates are going to be that we're trying them out, I'd be happy to go out there and join you and observe with
Sure.
you.
Again, we'll request that if the university is willing to cooperate, great, and we'll take pictures, let people know when it's happening, do a survey, informal survey. If they're not, then we won't, and we'll report that back as well.
Okay, and at a time and date that's convenient to Ms. O'Neill as well.
Okay, so we're talking in the next 2 weeks, between now and the 22nd, time that's convenient to Ms. O'Neill, time that's convenient to Northwestern. If we can do it, we will. If we can't, we won't, and we'll come back and report why.
Good. Any
And again, I
questions?
think it's warranted because the traffic signal is going to be in her front yard, so that's.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know what light we're talking about, so could somebody explain the option that's being proposed?
Alderman Rainey, Chair John Baptiste. My understanding is that we have been asked to locate a portable traffic signal. This is a commercially available device that is used for special events, used by companies, as Ms. O'Neill has described, for short periods of time. Apparently, Northwestern University's athletic department owns a few. We'll ask them if they would cooperate in loaning us one to place at the approximate location. While we've not finalized the design of this, I think Mr. Schneider, we have a general idea of what the location would be, so we would attempt to place it in the general location that it would be. For a 2-day period, we would let everyone know when this is. We would do surveys, I imagine mid-morning, late morning, early afternoon, late afternoon, to get student impressions of that, do all of this, and report back to you for your consideration of the 2 items on the 22nd.
So they're mobile signals, is that it? You can pick them up and put them any place, is that it?
Not sure if they're pick-upable, but I think they're certainly wheelable.
But that's what I mean, they're movable.
They're movable,
movable.
absolutely.
And we don't have any of them.
My understanding from the Public Works Department is we don't have occasion for that kind of thing. Normally, if you have a signal out, I think our practice, we put a
We
stop
use
sign up
stop signs.
versus a portable signal. Again, this is not meant for something permanent. They're used for special events. They're used for when businesses come and go. If it's a 30-minute period, usually the business works with a local law enforcement agency. Either there's a contract with a local law enforcement agency to set it up and to handle it, or a third party comes up on behalf of the company. Again, I don't know that this type of device is the kind of device that would make sense for this location, but certainly for a matter of testing it out, again, with the university's cooperation, we're happy to figure that out and to do it in the next 2 weeks.
But the problem really seems to be the location of the great big traffic signal. So this is really not going to address that problem, because I mean, I don't know if a traffic signal is needed there, and I'm sure that our staff has, determined if the warrants have been met. But I'd be out there screaming if there was going to be of course, I live in the middle of a block, so. But if a signal, I mean, imagine how large those pieces of equipment are. They're very big.
And this would
So,
not be that size.
A real traffic signal. Yeah, I mean, they're big, they're ugly. So I don't know. I think we should try this little experiment, but I don't think it's going to address the most serious problem, and that is the presence of a real signal in front of this person's
The
property.
traffic. Well, this analysis has already been made, okay? And this was before us some months ago. So I think in deference to Ms. O'Neill and Alderman Fisk, we do that. I don't know what, and you guys will interpret the outcome.
And if Northwestern is
If it's-
agreeable
if
to
it's
provide the
feasible,
signal, then
and
we're
then-
happy to participate. Again, I will echo what you've heard from staff for the last year and a half, that that's likely not an option given the complexities of the issues at this intersection. But if this is something the council would like us to pursue, per Alderman Fisk's direction with the survey and the notification, we're certainly happy to do that.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay. All right, we've addressed this issue, so we'll wait to get the report. A8 is a recommendation that we adopt ordinance 80-0-10, which increases the tax imposed on the purchase of motor fuel from 3 cents to 4 cents per gallon. This is for introduction. Can I get a motion?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, this is introduced.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it says introduction. Did you want to say something in between? Okay. A9, again for introduction, is a request that we adopt ordinance 81-0-10, which increases the tax imposed on electricity consumption to mirror the rates promulgated by the Illinois Municipal Code. The proposed average increase in electricity utility rates for most residential and business customers approximately 6.66%. This is for introduction. Can we get a motion?
Motion to approve?
Get a second. Okay. All right. Alderman Burris, then Alderman Rain.
I get an explanation on why there are 10 different rates.
I can answer that. The way that the statute reads is it's based on usage, and depending on the usage, the rate is different.
No, I understand that, but why so many?
That I would have to look into for you.
I mean, it seems really minuscule why we're doing 10 different pieces, and Wally's running over, so maybe he has an answer.
Could I piggyback on her question because
Yes,
it goes to that very same thing? I want to know if you can give us some examples of who some of these users would be. For example, who would be a user in the number 1 category, who would be like in number 4, number 8, just to have some idea.
Mr. Chair, Alderman Rainey, Alderman Burris, the Utilities Commission is meeting for its semi-annual confab with Commonwealth Edison on Friday, so we can get that information on the sample businesses in that area. My experience in other jurisdictions regarding multiple rates are that these are usually creatures of the state, that they authorize multiple rates for different types of users. So that would be the issue there. We can provide, with the listing of who those companies are, there's a circular, I'm sure, from either the Illinois Commerce Commission or Commonwealth Edison that would detail it more. But we'll see them all.
Just a sample. For example, St. Francis Hospital would be a number 6.
Right. But I mean, but the reason why there are multiple ones, if you look at how many liquor licenses types that we issue in the city of Evanston, is it 11? It's more than 11. So there is usually methods to these madnesses, but Commonwealth Edison is not alone. But we'll provide that information for you off agenda.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Okay. All those in favor of introduction, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Item A10 is a request that we adopt proposed ordinance 87-0-10, by which the City Council would amend Section 7-2-5-3 of the City Code to increase the fees for the obstruction of the public right-of-way on the row, as it's called, right-of-way. Obstruction permit fee was last increased in February of 2007. This is for introduction. Can we get a motion?
Motion to approve?
Can we get a second? Okay. Questions? Yes. Explain.
I found this very complicated.
Yeah, explain. Is that Public Works?
I get the
Could you please-
penalty, but
Could you
what is it?
further elaborate, please?
Traffic lane or alley, $1.50 linear.
Chairman John Baptiste, committee, excuse me.
And
committee
Paul,
members.
can you also tell us the difference in, are we going to make a lot more money this way? I really can't.
I'm Paul Schneider. I'm the city engineer. Excuse me. Actually, we were attempting to simplify things.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Previously, we had broken it into several types of billings, whether you were there a short period of time for a week or less, or a month or longer. And what we did is we would bill $25 per 25-foot increment, basically $1 a foot previously. So we were kind of billing based on these 25-foot increments. Well, we've kind of taken all that out and decided, $25 per 25 feet is essentially $1 a foot. What we're looking at now is just saying, regardless of the length, we're going to charge you $1.50 per linear foot of the length of right-of-way that you're occupying. And this also goes beyond just construction in the roads and buildings. It's blocking the sidewalk, obstructing the parkway, putting out a dumpster in the street for move-out day, any of those types of activities that occupy the right-of-way. Again, we've taken, I think we had 4 different billing measures before, and now we've reduced it to 1. Again, $1.50 per linear foot. And what we're looking to do is, as we figure, based on last year, we figure to make approximately $60,000. Rajiv, is that about right? About $60,000 annually based on this change. So it would result in some net revenues if we see the same development patterns we saw last year. Yeah.
So it's simply, it's $1.50 a lineal foot, $50 minimum for sidewalk and parkway. I mean,
Yes.
I don't see that it's only 1. It looks to me like it's 1, 2, 3. Then $1.50 linear foot, $50 minimum for, so what, how long can they be there?
Well, that's the other reason, because before we had it broken into weekly increments versus monthly increments with a discount for the monthly increment. Now we've just said you're going to be charged per week. So we hope that encourages people to get their business done and get the right-of-way cleaned up and restored to its previous conditions.
So whether it's traffic lane, alley, parking lane, sidewalk, or parkway, it's $1.50 a lineal foot for 1 week.
Yes. And some operations maybe take 50 feet of roadway, some take the whole block, Mather, for instance. So, larger developments that block the sidewalk and a parking lane and a lane, they would be paying more of a fee for the use of the city's right-of-way.
Alderman Fisk.
Thanks. Paul, this only affects construction, is that correct? Construction work going on, so it doesn't affect like dumpsters in the street or alley or any other obstructions on the street or alley or sidewalk?
No, actually, it does go beyond construction. Construction is usually the primary operation that gets hit under this fee. But also, for instance, the university has its move-out days, and they'll request dumpsters be placed out in the street. We would charge for those.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be development or renovation, but it can be any operation that impacts the city's right-of-way.
Okay, but they get permits for dumpsters anyway, is that right? I mean, is this folded into a permit fee for a dumpster?
Under our right-of-way permit fee, they pay for a dumpster fee.
Okay. But in terms of things like other obstructions like sidewalk cafes or those pods, the moving in, moving out pods that...
The moving in, moving out pods would also pay a fee based on this schedule.
Okay.
Sidewalk cafes would not, because as we go out and analyze those, we analyze them to make sure that there's still adequate sidewalk for pedestrian traffic.
Okay, and that's going to be folded into the other ordinances allowing the pods or the dumpsters or...
Right. Well, in the case of the sidewalk cafes, those permits are actually issued through the health department.
Right. Okay.
But we engineering does go out and check the width of the sidewalk.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Again, this is for introduction. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, we have no items for discussion. Oh, is he still here? I thought it was resolved. Sorry, apologize.
You can ask him if you want.
Mr. McGuire is a building owner who is impacted by the backflow requirement. You okay? We're okay. All right. Okay, great. And Michelle Stein from Medill School of Journalism has signed up. Did you? Okay. All right. Then we're good. And Carol Mullins from the League of Women's Voters. Okay. It's just the sign up. Okay. Thank you. All right, then. Yes, Alderman Ray.
Could we find out if the new superintendent of sanitation is here? Is he here? Oh, okay, because we don't know him. That's true.
Is here.
Keeping him under.
Hi. Well, since you're here. Just come on. You'll get 2 bites at the apple. We already acknowledged that you're here. You can just say hi.
This is your favorite committee, right here.
This is gonna be you're gonna live here. So
good evening. Yes, my name is Pat Sheeran, and I started work as the new superintendent of streets and sanitations November 1. Okay. I'm very happy to be here and joining the Evanston crew, staff, and I look forward to tonight's meeting to meet all the rest of the aldermen. But thank you.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure that Suzette Robinson is very happy, too, to see you. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, and welcome. All right. Motion to adjourn? Yes.
When's the next meeting?
Oh, the next meeting of the City Council? 7:15, so we have a full half-hour break because we will not have a P&D meeting tonight. Okay? 7:15, council begins. All right? Thank you.
There you go. Oh, second?
Second.
Huh?